Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. So today I'm going to do a full flip through of the Hobonichi Cousin 2022 from Jan to December. I hope you enjoy this video. It is going to be a long one. So I will try to keep some things short, not going into detailed explanations for everything. Though I will try to cover up as much as possible. So if you want more detailed ideas, I would say go and check out my monthly flip throughs because I go there in detail. And if you still have any questions that you would like me to explain, because I think this was a great year for me in my cousin. I won't say obviously I was consistent throughout the year, but it worked out for me. And any questions that you have, any comments that you have, I would love to listen to you. So put it down below and I would respond to you as quickly as possible. So let us begin. Now this is my Hobonichi Cousin. Obviously right now it is without a cover. I did not do any sort of deco on the covers or anywhere else. It was quite minimal for me this year as far as 2022 is concerned. Let me go directly into the first spread. So this one is what I used for my income tracking, and the right hand side was not used at all. The basics of it is that I highlighted the dates that I got my income, and below that I wrote the source that I got the income from and of course the amount. The reason is because I do not have a fixed consistent income. I may not get it in some months, the amount changes and the dates also change, so I definitely need to write it down so I'm more aware of these things. And if there are any other issues that come up with relation to this, I can always track it easily over here. Obviously I can go into my bank account for more details, but that takes a lot of time for me to search through the whole 12 months and find out details. This is a lot quicker for me in case I need to find out something. Now moving ahead to the next spread. This is what I used as my index for the daily pages. In the daily pages I journal, so it's a lot of memory keeping over there. And this is what worked out as an index for me for all the 12 months, and I was consistent with that. Obviously the top and the bottom, as you see, is blank. Does not really bother me. Maybe you could decorate it if you're really into that, but I've left it blank as far as this year was concerned. Now you might just notice that some are more packed, some are a lot blanker than the others, and the reason is because one, I probably did not use the daily spreads for those months, and two, also because I don't write everything over here. Whatever I feel is relevant enough to come over here, I bring it up over here. Some of the daily pages are just random journaling which are not really important enough to come over here, and I didn't really see the need to create an index for that over here. So if you see, this is my index for all the 12 months. You will get a better idea of what I've done once you see the daily pages. So yes, I was consistent with this and that makes me happy. This is one of the spreads that were of the previous year. I never use the extra months that are provided. I like to stick to the exact 12 months of that year that I'm using the planner. So these were some stickers that I had, print-on stickers. I am not at all creative, so I didn't know what to do with them. I just put it on over here and that's about it. They are beautiful stickers, but I kind of destroyed them, but let it be. So yes, now coming to the monthlies, I will flip through the 12 months quickly, but I'll just give you a brief idea first. So what I do is certain parts of my monthly are set up well in advance. So for 2022, I'll probably set up my months around December of 2021. And what I do is I cover the days that are not a part of this month with washi that I like, and I do it for all the 12 months, the same washi. And the next thing that I do is I set up all the birthdays and anniversaries for the year by using a specific sticker. So in this month I didn't have any, but I have probably in the next months marked out all the birthdays and anniversaries by looking at the perpetual calendar that I have. So I do not have to do it every month, it's already set up for me. Now most of the remaining things come up as the month goes and I add it as required. So obviously the monthly spread is not something that I come back to on a daily basis. If I need to, I will use it and that's about it. But why the spread is important for me is because once the planner is completed, like now, this is what provides for me an overview of the month, all the main highlights. of the month appear here. Now, by main things, I'll point out what they are. For me, of course, as a content creator, I have YouTube over here, the days I posted, and of course, how I'm improving as per that. Obviously, that is not relevant to everyone. What may be relevant to you are important things like bills, for example, which I use these circle stickers for. They are for certain things. Some are for bills where I write the amount as well. Some are for my period. Some are for important events that are taking place. For all of this, what I do is every year I create a key for it at the back of my Hobonichi Cousin. The key is something that I refer to probably for 1 month or maybe 2 months, and that's about it. Later on, I remember what each of those circle stickers indicate. And the only reason I need the key itself is because I change the colors every year. Otherwise, this is something that I've been using for a while now, and I am continuing with this in the year 2023 too. Other than that, let's see. What comes out are important events for that month. So, for example, I had a trip planned for this week, and as you can see, that trip got cancelled because of COVID at that point of time. Now, what is interesting is that I did not write this out. Okay, I've told you before that I don't really try to completely cover up when something is cancelled. The reason is because sometimes it's important for me to know why it was cancelled as well, and that there was something planned. There was, I believe, a wedding that we were supposed to attend, and we had actually prepared completely to travel for that. It was cancelled at the last minute because of COVID. We were supposed to go for it. So this is something I do, that I don't really try to, cover it up completely. I would rather keep it over here so that I can see that later instead of cancelling it off. But at the same time, I try to, completely write down details for each day's plans that I have. They always help me out later. Maybe not for everyone, it works out for me. So short plans for each day are always there. Other than that, maybe a wedding, some sort of an event, random events, they always come over here. Just to be clear, the highlighter colors don't mean anything. I just want them to stand out. That is why I've used a different highlighter. So the wedding was the main event. That is why I put it in a different color, and the rest I've just used a different color for that. So random things, random highlighter colors, no specific theme to it as such. The only consistent highlighter color that I had was green. Green was what I used when I bought stationery. So stationery tracking, shopping tracking was something that I did in the monthly spreads, and if I ever buy from any stationery shop, I used to write down the name of the stationery shop. So for example, Hobonichi, and then highlight it in green so that it stands out and I know that I've already bought in that month. This has actually helped me to be, a little more aware of how much I'm spending on stationery, because that is one category where I tend to spend excessively. Anyway, that's like a brief idea. Let me just quickly flip through now through the remaining spreads. So here is one example. You can see Hobonichi over here. So clearly I bought on the 1st of Feb, which is when the April start planners were released. If you have any other questions, you can bring that up. Otherwise, I'm just doing a quick flip through. ECSSB. They look probably blank to you, but I understand what all of these signify, so it's fine with me. Okay, so yeah, these are my monthly spreads. I know that okay, these corner stickers are what I use for birthdays and anniversaries and such. Some people find the Hobonichi a little tiresome because there's a lot of flipping around to be done. I bought a lot in September from 3 different shops, or 4 actually. Most of my months were pretty good actually. So as you can see over here, again another trip was cancelled. Yes, as I was saying, I know that some people find it bothersome, to flip through the months and the different spreads in the cousin. I don't think it is, because I don't do a lot of flipping. I think the only spreads that I flip between are the weeklies and the dailies. As I said before, I don't really use the monthly on a daily basis. Maybe I refer to it at the start of the month or as the events occur, and I just fill it, and that's it. I don't really look at the monthly on a daily basis, or the index. The index that I showed you earlier is something that I fill towards the end of a month or sometimes the next. at the same time, instead of filling it on a daily basis. I never fill the index on a daily basis. At the end of the month I go back and fill it, and that's that. So these were the monthly spreads. These are the extra months that were provided in the planner. I always do this, something silly to cover them up. This one specifically was one of my favorite washis from 2021 that got over. There was a little left and I just wanted to see them in my planner, and that is why it's here. Obviously it's not a very aesthetic thing as some people can do, because I'm not talented in that. And this is my first weekly spread. So again, I use the exact date, so I don't use the dates of the previous year. I start always from the first. So I've covered them up with washi. The basics of what I do, let me show you from the next spread, is I divide my spread into 3 categories: me time, to do, events, and there is a tracker section on the left hand side and on the top, and that's about it. More details of this you can check out my new Hobonichi setup video 2023, or how I use my cousin in 2022 video. They are very detailed, or my flip throughs of the monthlies. They will explain to you in detail. I love using the weeklies, as you can see. Was I consistent with them? No, not really, as you can see over here. So Jan, always good, or tends to be good for most of the time. That is when everyone is like, I am definitely using my planner. Okay, all the dedication starts from Jan to Feb. Obviously how much it lasts for the rest of the year is something to be seen. This was a beautiful floral sticker from Erin Condren. I think I got it in a seasonal surprise box, and I used it throughout March here and there in the weekly spreads. Probably the only month, or probably one of the 2 months where I used stickers as such. As you can see, I mess up. I know there are people who are really bothered by such things. I just left it as it is. I can read what it is, so I'm fine with it. Okay. As I'm showing you, there are a few stickers here and there. Generally, I don't use stickers in my weeklies because they take up a lot of space, and I need space in my weeklies, so I don't see the point of it. That is why sometimes I feel that A5 is a perfect size for me. I can't go to a size like B6 where, there is not enough space for me. This is already a small column. How much more small can I write? I have a bigger handwriting also. Obviously, there are spreads that are empty. So towards the month of May, this week I was not actually here. I was in a different place. So I just use this, to write down the main things that happened, and that's about it. There are some days, where I go and back plan. I don't always write the tasks and then tick it off. There are some days where I leave it blank. At the end of the day, I try to remember what are the things that I've done, and I note it down because I like to do that. It may seem silly to you, but I kind of like that. Okay, I've completed all these in a day. That is also something weird that I do. Randomly, as you can see, I've used the medium side of the pen to write. The reason is because I always end up finishing one side of the pen, that is the fine side, and I wanted this to get over, so I randomly used it, but I hated it, so I went back to the fine side of the pen. So I think the first 6 months were largely good enough. Yes, some spreads are a little blank, but I think most of it, I would say, I was pretty much consistent with the planner. From July onwards, it went a little down. That is from the 7th month onwards. So this is more or less a habit of mine. The first 6 months go great, then yes. But one thing I found is I still never abandoned my cousin. I never had the temptation to, jump from planner to planner, because this is around the time, when the new planners are released for the next year, or something interesting comes up. Thankfully, I never jump from planner to planner, even though I don't use it very consistently or completely as such. I kind of stick with using my cousin itself instead of shifting to a different planner. And I would say the weekly spread is one of my favorites. Considering the fact that I don't use the spread for what it is, basically the timelines and such, it still works out great for me. And as you can see over here, I've enjoyed using it. Not a single sticker except for those 2 months that I'd shown you earlier. Very interestingly, I would say that one of the reasons I don't sticker at all is probably because I don't have a single creative bone in my body. As simple as that. I just can't. So even if you see the places that I used my washi earlier or any stickers at all, they are so flat. Like I don't know how to do it, okay? Because I don't know how to layer stickers. I've just, if I see a line, I will put a washi, in a straight line, and that's it. I don't know how to go about aesthetically tearing the washi, layering it up with stickers. I just can't. So yes, one is because I just can't do that, and yeah, also because I realized that even if I have time, I kind of don't have at the moment any particular interest in trying to sticker on my spreads. In fact, weirdly, whichever washi or stickers I have remaining from the earlier days of planning, I kind of use it everywhere else except in my planner. So if I want to pack any gifts, I try to use washi on that, in a nice manner so that it looks prettier. But even if I have time, I really don't use it in my planner. So for me, it is a waste of money. For others, maybe not so. See, as long as it is something that you use and enjoy and have fun with, it is still at least better. For me, it is not. Okay, for me, I just waste it and I'm sad with that, so I'd rather not buy. In fact, the next one is the turning the page to a New Year spread. So for me, I have used it as a goal spread. I wouldn't say goal planning exactly because there is literally no planning going on over there. That is one of my spreads which is completely useless. That is not the reason I'm not showing it. There are some things that I don't want to show. It's not a top secret or anything, but I would prefer not to show it. So basically what I've done for goal is I've randomly written a few goals over there, which are basically larger goals, and I've not done a single thing to work towards it. That is why clearly I think I have probably managed to succeed in only one goal in the whole list that I've written. I am not someone who has actually learned the idea of proper goal planning when I was doing this. So what I did is just the major goals. I did not break it down into smaller steps. I didn't work towards it in any manner, and therefore that spread is completely useless. I have tried to work better towards it in the year 2023, but I'm learning. Now when we come to the daily spreads, okay, what we have is always a dashboard followed by the daily spreads. Now obviously every year what I do is when I think about setting up my planner, I always come up with wonderful, brilliant ideas of using this functionally, because that is the whole point, but then I never do. I always find it preferable that I write something or put something over here that I've enjoyed that month. Now most of the times, or all the time this year, I feel in 2022 I used it for quotes. The quotes could be motivational, funny, anything that I enjoyed, some random lines that I read and I feel that I would enjoy when I look to it later. In fact, even when I do the flip throughs for you, the monthly flip throughs, I like to go back and read the quotes just for fun. So this is not exactly, I would say, a very functional spread in those terms, but something I still enjoy and makes me happy. So yeah, that is that. This line that you see over here, I did not know I repeated it, but weirdly I started 2023 with the same lines. When you get tired, learn to rest, not quit. Because this is something that often happens with me, not only in terms of planning and other things as well, but in terms of planning, I would just like to speak about it, is the fact that I never quit my Hobonichi Cousin, especially in 2022 towards the last quarter. I have not used it really consistently, but I took rest. I always came back to it again and again, but I did not quit my planner. I was tempted to, but I never quit my planner. I always came back to it because I am tired. I'm tired in so many ways, physically definitely, but more I would say mentally, emotionally, I'm just tired. But I think in terms of planning, I'm happy that I always came back to it, to my journal, to my planner again and again, instead of just abandoning the whole idea. But anyway, that's regarding the dashboard. It is just a space for me to use however I want it to, because I want to enjoy it when I, come back to it later as such. Anyway, I'll stop with all the babbling for a while. This is not a motivational talk or anything. Let's begin with the daily spreads. So as always, when I start off, I'm very dedicated. You won't see this dedication later where I fill it up so much. But what I do is I write a lot, and I write in the one grid space. Just for those who are new, letting you know, it's fine if you have a larger handwriting and you want to use two space grids for that, because I used to do that when I started off with the cousin, because I didn't have much to write then. I didn't know how to go about journaling, and I wrote very few lines as such. Okay, if you can see my previous flip throughs to see how I used the dailies then when I did not journal much. So now I obviously go with one grid space, and this idea that works for me is that when I journal like this, I use titles. Okay, as you can see, like a hair care update, silk pillowcases that I got for the first time, Bible study, mobile case update. And how this helps me is that when a lot is written, I don't have to actually go and read the whole page to know about what is written. If I just see the title, I know what it is about. And this is also useful when it comes to filling up the index that I showed you at the beginning earlier, because I just go through this dailies at the end of the month. I see the titles, I'll see what is relevant enough to come on the index, and I just add them to the index. Obviously, if I have multiple titles, I don't write all of them in the index. The most important one which should come over there will come there, and that's about it. As you can see, as the month passes, I'm not really very consistent with filling it up all the way till the end, and that is fine with me as well. And this is what I meant by using the same pen for both writing, as in the fine tip for writing, and I use the medium tip for writing the titles, so I don't have to jump between the pens that I use. I prefer to use this EC marker pens because they have both the sides. I can, use the same pen throughout the year without having to look for multiple pens just for the sake of writing, because I find it easier to do that. I don't want to use several pens, even though I actually have several of them from the time that I used to buy a lot of stationery. But this is the month of Jan. Now this is more or less the similar style that will continue for later months. A monthly dashboard that will have something that I liked, and of course daily journaling. And since we have time, I will go back to babbling again for a while. If you have any questions, please ask in the meanwhile, or any other comments that you would like to mention. Okay, I'll just skip on a few pages. Okay, this is from the Soul Hobonichi Weeks cover that I had. It was pretty, so I just placed it over here. See, there are some spreads where I didn't really journal myself. These were some things that I found interesting, and I added it over here. And yeah, let's get back to random babbling. I found that just like when I showed you the goal spread, which was a failure, the one thing that I succeeded in, I would say, is spending. If you've seen my planning videos, you know that I don't have a really detailed or complicated shopping tracker and such, but weirdly I have succeeded in curbing my spending, especially on stationery as such. You might have noted that I have a very simple style, as I showed you in the monthly spreads, of tracking my spending, and that has worked out for me. So sometimes I feel that simplifying things works out a lot more better than when you go into details and then just feel so pressured to use those spreads. So, and despite telling all this, it's very interesting to note that for 2023 I've actually created a shopping tracker for the first time. I've never done shopping trackers before. I got that inspo from some image that I found on Facebook, I think, and I've tried to convert it to how it would work out for me. We'll see what happens with that. I would probably test it out for a few months, and I will probably abandon it if I feel that it's just creating me more work and more trouble. So that is also something to keep in mind as such. So yeah, that's that, because I'm already kind of thinking that that would be too much work for me. I should have went with my simple style of curbing my spending. But my advice to all of you would be, instead of doing a no spend that may not work for everyone, try at least starting off with a less spend, because what happened to me in case of no spend is that Yes, it worked for a while that I began the no spend. Then I did it with a vengeance. When I went to buy, I bought so much that the whole no spend was not worth it. For me, it's a better option, where I create a wish list every month. Then I just keep on, forwarding it to the next month, to a point where I will lose interest in that certain product. Or if I'm still interested in it, yes, I would go ahead and buy it. But I think I succeeded quite well in 2022 in terms of stationery, because I have not bought a single washi or sticker for the year 2023. Obviously, if that is something interests you, it is fine if you buy it, I guess. But for me, the fact is that I'm not really interested in stickers or washi at this point of time, and I gave you reasons for that clearly, as I mentioned earlier. So I'm kind of happy that I did not. And yeah, that is that. So yeah, we have reached the month of May as far as journaling is concerned. At the same time, I have a feeling that I will probably miss stickering in my journaling pages, because I don't have any more stickers left. I have washi but no stickers, I think. And it kind of looks pretty. It gives a nice look to my journaling pages instead of just, a lot of journaling. So I'm not really sure whether I will regret the decision in 2023 and go back and buy stickers, because okay, I'm so sorry for that. I don't know, I just got distracted by something. So yeah, that is that. And meanwhile, I would love to hear from you how you work on, spending less in terms of any category. It does not have to be stationery as such. Any new ideas are always appreciated. This is the washi that I've used in my 2023 monthly, because I really like it. It's an empty washi tape. Empty washi is always good quality. You get a lot of quantity as well. It lasts for a while, unless you are not interested in that to happen. And yeah, let's go ahead. So we are in the month of June. I think June is always, the mid time where the consistency goes for a while. And that is when the new planners come, and you kind of lose interest in using your current planner, because you're distracted by everything that has come up online. Oh my god, I hate this washi. It looks beautiful. As I said, I have no creative talent, so it's just a straight line. But yeah, why I hate this is because it can tear your page very easily. It's very sticky, too sticky for that matter, and sadly there's a lot of it. Like, I think it's the empty washi tape, but since it's the huge one, there's a lot of it, and I don't know what to do with it. Because it tears so easily, I'm kind of scared to use it anywhere, and it's just lying there. I don't even know whom to give it, because who would use it? Okay. Yes, as we come to July, you can see I am not really that consistent as I was in the previous months. A lot of blank spreads, which can bother a number of people. Weirdly, it does not bother me. Even as I flip through it, I'm kind of fine with it. But at the same time, I wonder whether it's because I have a few stickers here and there, and whether it would be a problem when I don't have any stickers at all in 2023. And as you see the later months, you might notice that I've kind of got lazy about decorating the dashboard, because they were extremely busy months. I just put on the whole sticker as it is, because yes, too lazy, that's it. Right now we are in August, and my journaling is quite less at this point of time. The days that I did also, there are just a few paras. I have not even written titles for them, because nothing relevant enough, to come up as an important point anywhere. So that's about it as far as August is concerned. But like I said at the beginning of the dailies, when I started flipping through it, I feel that the one good thing that I did, not this, is I did not give up. Okay, I did not give up. Yes, I didn't do journaling as often as I should have, or I wanted to. But at the same time, I always came back to it in some way or the other, at least by writing a few lines. So that is something I'm quite happy about. And yeah, let me know what works for you as well, because for me, I think this is fine. Maybe you all have some other ideas how to be more consistent with journaling as such, and I would love to hear from you about it. Some days I'm just too tired, to write down anything, and when I think back on the day, I just don't feel like writing anything. Not that the day is extremely bad, nothing relevant enough for me to, write about it. Which may seem like a silly thing. There is always something you can write about, okay, something you can be grateful for. and it's a silly thing to say, I know that, but yeah, that is that. And now we are here in the month of November, towards the end. Like I said, last quarter not so great in terms of journaling. At the same time, I have not abandoned it so much to a point that I have not journaled at all. That is not the case. And we'll see how this works out for 2023 without any sort of deco used as such. Let me know what, which spreads worked out great for you as far as 2022 is concerned. Maybe they are functional spreads, maybe they are just spreads that are fun for you, not really functional, but I would love to hear from you what you enjoyed in 2022 as far as your spreads are concerned, because I enjoyed a number of them. Except for my turning the page to a new year, I think I have loved using my planner in 2022. Whether I've been consistent or not, I really enjoyed using my planner. That is why I think I can't abandon the Hobonichi Cousin for a different sort of planner. I kind of have this loyalty towards it because this is what made me fall in love with planning. Even though I started with other styles like Bujo and Erin Condren, I think this is what I can come back to, and I kind of feel, I'm not loyal enough when I'm shifting to other planners. See, that's a silly thing that I have. I'm not saying that is actually true. I kind of don't want to abandon it. At the same time, I know I enjoy this, so why should I abandon it? Okay, but yeah, we have come to the end now. I've used all the different spreads in my Hobonichi Cousin. So the end is this library that I created. And for next year, I'll probably leave the spread blank. The reason is because I always have a lot to write on the 31st and I need more space to write, but then I prefer it to be here, not somewhere else. I know I could write on one of the previous blank spreads and just date it over there, but I kind of wanted one after the other as far as 31st is concerned. So for 2023, I'll probably leave at least one spread blank for that. This is my library. See, this, I loved it. I loved it so much that I feel that, this is simple yet beautiful enough that I enjoy looking at it. As I've said before, I'm not creative, but I enjoyed creating this because there is something pretty about it. It's not too bland as well. And see, it makes it interesting to come back to this spread. So what I've done over here is pretty simple. I've chosen a few books for the year and I've put on their covers over here. Obviously, it's not a great print, but it's fine with me. And so I don't have to write the title or the name of the writer because everything is already mentioned in the cover. And below that, I give stars for it depending on how much I liked it. These stars are from the Hobonichi stencil. I think it's from the yellow one. I'm not sure, yellow or blue. Yellow probably. And below it, I've sort of created like a loading bar like you have for games. And what is happening is that depending on how much I've read, I'll just fill it up. And I've also written the number of pages. I've probably read an ebook or a physical book, but I've written down the number of pages I've covered from the total number of pages. I generally don't abandon books midway, even if I hate a book, but this year, as in 2022, I had decided that I will abandon it instead of forcing myself to read it. So this was one that I abandoned. Not that the book is bad, I just did. That was not a good point of time for me. And below that, I've written the category of the book, romance, science fiction, and of course what type of book I read, and the month that I read the book in. So in the month of May, I've read about 3.5 books. Okay, some months I just read one book. In Feb, I did not read at all. So it gives me a good idea of that. It's a very simple spread. It does not take much time to create, but obviously you need a little bit of time. Once I just did this once. It's not that I did this several times. I had set up all the books that I wanted to read, and obviously this was updated as I finished each book or as I left each book incomplete as such. Another thing to point out over here is the fact that I have not set up the spread for 2023, and I'm hating myself for it at this point because when I look back at it, it is so simple but still so fun to read and just to see, look at it. And one of the main reasons that I didn't set up the spread for 2023 was the fact that I'm lazy. Okay, I'm just lazy. I don't know why I didn't do it. you can see my 2023 setup and what I've done for the books to read spread. But I didn't set up the spread, and I already regret it, and I'm already thinking that 2024 I will have the spread, because it's not as simple. It is not too plain, you know. I have one year I just made, you know, those plain columns where I just have the book names and such. There's no image or anything creative over there. It was very boring. Yes, functional but boring, but this I found to be functional as well as fun, and I don't know why I didn't do this for 2023. But yes, another reason that I didn't do is because I used these spreads for goal planning, sort of. Anyway, coming back to the last one, I did not use this at all because I didn't read at all in the last quarter. It was a mess. Wish to do better in 2023. Hopefully I will come back to it. The books to read is sort of a, you know, love-hate thing for me, because I used to read a lot earlier. I don't know what happened to me that I can't even read a single book a month, which is kind of pathetic, I would think, but yeah, whatever. Anyway, I don't use most of these spreads because one, they were in Japanese, and frankly I had whatever I wanted to use already, so I don't really need this. This is something that I do every year. I want to keep a memory of the gift that I got with the Hobonichi that year. So we got a spoon for 2022. Obviously I can't keep the spoon in here, I just kept the card that came along with it. And then I have to remove these, frankly. I don't know why these stickers are there here. I removed the smaller ones to the new Hobonichi because I know I use that a lot. These two, frankly, I don't use at all. I really need to remove that. This is the key that I had mentioned earlier at the monthly spreads. Why I have kept the key still is because when I come back to this planner after a few years, I will probably not remember what the circle stickers are that are there in the monthly. So this key will help me if I need to remember that. Then of course the rest of it is blank over here, and with this I've come to the end of my Hobonichi Cousin. I would love to hear from you about how your Hobonichi experience or any planner experience went. Maybe you use a different planner, a simplified, a bullet journal. I would love to hear from you how that went for you for the year 2022. And yeah, see you all in the next video, guys. Have a nice day.